Warning, the voices heard in this video are made synthetically using artificial intelligence. Nothing in this video reflects anything actually stated by the real-life individuals involved. This video is for entertainment purposes only, and serious political content will be avoided for that purpose. Enjoy!
Viewers, someone missed, and now I'm pissed. I got a Denerim hit list, and on the top is an egotist.
I'm pretty sure Donald's been waiting all week for this upcoming boss fight.
Week? I have been waiting for this moment since we first entered character creation. I've won the presidential election, became a billionaire, got platinum on Bloodborne, and still there's no more satisfying feeling than killing Howe and watching his snake-filled bitch mouth slowly choke on his own blood.
Well, viewers, get ready for a jam-packed episode as well as a bloody episode, since we are not only killing Howe, but it's Donald's last episode. So you know our own team is going down as much as the enemy's.
Oh, please, I might have to go through 20 minutes of yapping, but I am locked in today. Believe me, the viewers are going to have a new expert on Dragon Age after today, so get ready to be dethroned. Barack.
The one cope is real.
Huh, well, you're talking a big game, but I'm here for it if you can back it up, Donald. Also, viewers, as you saw, I went around Denerim finishing a lot of side quests from the Chanters board, favors for interested parties, Blackstone and Mages Collective, to get us plenty of gold for Awakening and experience for the Landsmeet. While I was there, I encountered a Revenant, and just so Donald doesn't feel like I stole Gaxkang from him, I let him fight the Revenant as a trade-off, which we will show in a moment.
Is there any lore on this quest, Barry?
No, none. This quest isn't in Dragon Age Keep, and there is no impact on Dragon Age 2 or Inquisition, but it may elaborate on why Maferath betrayed Andraste, or why he gave the elves the Dales after his war with Tevinter. There is a small side quest in Awakening that does deal with Maferath. The Canticle of Maferath is located in the Wending Woods, and this canticle is part of the dissonant verses, which are not spoken of by the Chant of Light. This is similar to the Apocrypha texts in Christianity for reference. This chant tells Maferath's perspective on betraying Andraste but being forgiven since his actions led Andraste back to the Maker's side. It's understandable why this was left out of the Chant of Light, since the common belief is to hate Maferath for his betrayal and view it as black and white.
It's good we covered the Chantry a little towards the end before we get to Dragon Age 2, when we are going to have to be caught up on the lore.
Well, here we have that Revenant boss fight from earlier. This one is found just by traveling around Denerim until you get a random encounter. This Revenant also has a Legion of the Dead shield, which is really thematic for our Warden. That doesn't matter, though, since we are going to keep the Edgicon shield for thematic purposes, as well as for the Darkspawn damage bonus.
This might be the last Revenant in this game, but we are going to have just as many in Dragon Age 2, so get ready, boys.
Now that the Landsmeet has started, we can quickly finish the last of the Slim Kuldry quests. Again, we are doing this not just because the money is good, but because this quest has some small relevance in Dragon Age Awakening.
Barack just has to fuel his addiction to special dialogue every episode, whether it's his own or not. I'm still not thrilled about having you two Democrats add my felony count, even if it is in a game.
I think you will like this last crime wave quest, Donald. We get to harass and kill not only Loghain's guards, but his seneschal, and take Loghain's regency crown. While this doesn't technically affect the Landsmeet, it does lower his position in Denerim thematically, and it is some good get back.
Well, it's not how, but I'm into practice on Loghain's men before we reach him anyways. Let's go reunite Alistair with his fake family.
I guess we might as well cover the controversy with this quest, since it's a long conversation with not much important interaction until the end.
Barack, I can tackle the impacts of this quest. Why don't you handle the background from the extended media?
Good teamwork. Donald, that's what I like to see. So as we are about to learn here, Goldana's mother was a servant in the castle. Goldana believes King Marek forced himself on her mother and produced a child, but was told the child died along with her mother. However, the novel The Calling throws a wench into that belief for two major reasons. One is that Marek was in a depression spiral over the loss of his wife, and he wasn't really interested in extra activities with servants. And secondly, the bigger reason why this story doesn't hold up is Marek falls for a Grey Warden companion of Duncan named Fiona, and they end up conceiving a child, during their Deep Roads expedition. This makes Alistair a half-elf, technically, but human genetics overpower elven genetics. So there is no physical difference in Alistair because of this.
Who told you that?
So who is this child that Goldana is talking about?
Probably was just a misunderstanding. The castle guards sent her away, not Eamon or Merrick. The guards wouldn't likely know who Alistair's mother was, since Fiona leaves to rejoin the circle after giving birth. So they maybe just assumed he was Goldana's mom and didn't want the drama. There is plenty of lore problems with this, since Alistair's mother, being Fiona, wasn't written into the canon until after Origins was released. Also, the amulet we grabbed in the Arl study wasn't likely Fiona's, and was likely just an amulet Eamon gave Alistair to comfort him.
Some people don't really like this rewrite, since there are holes in the storyline like the Goldana situation, and it's not like Fiona does anything with being Alistair's mom in Inquisition. Also, thankfully, Alistair lucked out on being a mage, since his mom was one. Bro hit the genetical lottery and got the better role of Templar instead.
I think that's most likely because Merrick's genes are really, really strong with the dragon blood and all.
Well, now that we got the background lore problems taken care of, let's go over the in-game impacts of this quest, which are way more important. First of Goldana herself, as you can see, is just an overall terrible and selfish person. To quote my former brother from another mother, Ye, I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke. We can give her a shit ton of money ourselves, or have Alistair support her, but there is literally no reason for him or us to do so. Goldana despises Alistair, and as we just covered, he is not even related to her.
I guess he helps her kids. They are innocents, even if their mom is a piece of work.
To quote Michael Jordan, fuck them kids. The end result of this quest can help us guide Alistair towards being hardened just like Liliana, if we pick the dialogue saying that everyone is out for themselves, and you should be too. Hardening him makes him agree with renegade decisions like killing Joanne or having a three-way with Isabella, and most importantly has him approving of taking the throne, since he realizes he needs to look out for himself more and prepares him for the difficulties of leadership. When we appoint him as king, he will not be as upset with us, and we won't suffer a approval hit.
That was not what I expected, to put it lightly. I lived up to my promise.
Important to note that in order for hardening to take effect for both Alistair and Liliana, you have to pick the right dialogue option here and then confront them again at camp to confirm the option to harden them.
Well, I guess we are 1 for 1 on hardening versus unhardening in this game. Perfectly balanced as all things should be. But we have not decided on appointing Alistair to the throne yet. That is for the viewers to decide. Let's go and turn in a small side quest to get some top-tier armor.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I should.
Being honest to the viewers from the outside perspective, we waited to do this quest to the end so that these characters are more relevant when we start Dragon Age Awakening, since Wade and Heron give like a fifth of the side quests in that game.
Of course, this is another quest that gives unique awakening dialogue, but I don't mind this side quest as much, since this gives us some really good armor, like one of the top 3 armors in this game.
Wade and Heron will become key players towards rebuilding the Grey Wardens and reestablishing a strong soldier presence against the Darkspawn and beyond in Amaranthine. Wade will also create 3 legendary pieces for our Warden that is some of the best gear in the game. All of this is first set up because of Wade's work with the Drake and Dragon scales here.
You giving them the extra gold, Donald?
10 and 20 gold is chump change for us now, so we might as well. I think it helps make the dragon bone plate armor stronger anyway.
We get more experience for the superior Drake scale anyway. Also, we only need Wade to create 1 Drake scale armor to get him to create dragon bone armor. But we might as well create both the Drake scales first. The quest flows better that way.
Well, damn, Genevieve has been really busy. We went straight from Haven to Redcliffe, then straight from Redcliffe to Denerim. And Bro is already back himself and is organizing an expedition to the Urn.
Dropping by here because the old man promised us a reward. What is it, Barak?
It's a Grandmaster Dweemore rune, pretty good loot, and something we should consider slotting on someone before the final fight.
Fair enough, and not too bad loot either. Good luck with your fake religion pilgrimage towards free healthcare. Anyways, it's time for some fun.
Bro telling us to stop like he doesn't know who he's talking to.
Looks like he does know who he is talking to after all. That might be the first person to actually respect who the Warden is.
And who he is a goddamn monster. Finally, our absolute unit gets a little respect over here. Now it's time to get our mark.
Well, that was probably the quickest mugging known to man.
Now I might have spared the soldiers, they are just grunts. But I am not about to spare Logain's advisor. This dude is going to keep wiping Logain's and Howe's asses in hell, where they all belong.
Bro isn't even fighting back, he is just running away.
Well, after a quick homicide, let's check on our order, shall we?
Goddamn, they got our armor out faster than it takes McDonald's to pour a damn drink. That's what I call service.
It's basically the same logic as the Pokemon games, where you just leave the building and come back and the fossil is ready for you.
Well, it was so nice, let's do it twice, shall we? Might as well make 2 sets so we get the best one. I'm thinking we can equip this next one on Zevran. It's probably better than the current armor he has on, at least.
That's probably fine. I don't think we are going to use Zevran again, but he will be on the B team during the Denerim battle, so we might as well suit him up. Just don't replace Liliana's armor, the bard dancing shoes, and the battle dress are already peak on her thematically.
Don't worry, Joe, I will leave your waifu as she is. Important to note that we sort of did things out of order from how the developer intended. It looks like the intention was to do the Earn quest line earlier and then come back to Denerim to make the superior Drake scale armor, then return to the top of the mountain with the armor to fight the High Dragon. Since the superior Drake scale armor gives the maximum amount of fire resistance a armor can give, which just so happens to be perfect for the High Dragon fight.
True, but you can also just bring greater warmth bombs to deal with the fire issues.
Or just use shale if you're not a coward with a skill issue. Well, it looks like the secret to getting our armor faster is some good old-fashioned American homicide, so let's keep up the pace, boys. But first, he'll toss back to old Slim.
Well, Logain was successfully sent a message, and we got paid. Not a bad set of quests.
Dark Wolf is a really cool title to add to our collection, but keep that title in mind. It will come up in Awakening viewers.
They certainly will. All our viewers have high IQ Barack anyways. We can collect our rewards for the other 2 missions you guys completed, 10 gold, and some unique items for 2 kills is easy goddamn money.
Good shit for remembering the antivan Crow quest, Donald. It's been a while since we talked about it. Just one more fight, and then we can have 1 vote for the Landsmeet already earned.
Well, for one thing, I can appreciate a quest that has enough tasks that lets all of us participate in one quest. We rarely get to do that, so thanks BioWare for making this quest more spread out. But truthfully, I could once again care less about the Landsmeet implications of this quest. I am doing this to hurt Howe's pockets and send him another clear message that his days are goddamn numbered. I'm making sure every last person who has ever taken a paycheck from Howe will personally bite the curb.
If that's the case, you probably should have taken out Logain's soldiers back at the Nod Noble Tavern.
Now, those are Logain's men. I got beef with him, but my beef with Howe goes much deeper. Logain is more a passing beef, like the beef I have with you 2. But Howe, that is a seething rage that nothing could extinguish.
Bro is beefing harder with Howe than Kendrick did with Drake. Guess you lucked out that you got to deal with him during your last Origins episode.
Oh, that definitely was not luck. I would have made sure Howe was dead before I stopped playing, even if I ended up playing for 3 hours.
Well, I would have vetoed that shit around an hour and a half max. That's the rule, my guy.
Nothing can stop me, Barack. I thought you 2 would have learned that playing this game with me for over half a year. Also, goddamn, I'm trying to get the basic bard to use her new ability to get some CC, but they keep doing it back to me first.
Skill issue.
You know what? You're right. My mistake was using the bard. When I have Goth Mommy right here, we just got blood wound on her, so we might as well pop off a little and show how broken blood magic is.
I know you all are waiting patiently, but spoiler warning for the tier list: Blood Magic and Arcane Warrior both go into the top of S tier. They are so goddamn crazy and easy to use that this could only go one way.
We got another upgrade for Zevran here. The Red Jenny Seeker's giving 15% backstab damage. That's the best gloves you can get on a dual-wield rogue until Awakening.
All these upgrades for your boyfriend, and he doesn't get a chance to shine, really. Kind of funny, because it's not me going through it, but still kind of a bummer.
Well, now the Crows aren't going to put any new contracts on us for like 6 months at least.
They are also going to fade into minor pests now until we reach Veilguard and get that amazing mage killer companion.
I swear, If we see a contract that lists our warden when we visit antivan Crow headquarters, though it's on site, I don't like being lied to, even if I like your style.
Personally, I always just kill this guy after I get the Landsmeet vote, just to send a clear message.
Unexpectedly renegade and based from you, Joe, I would do the same. But this guy really helped me get back at Howe, so I will let him go. Also, since apparently we can't have this conversation with Alistair and Eamon's estate, so we had to go back to camp to get it.
Alistair Hardening is definitely far less dark than Liliana's route. He just becomes a bit jaded and assertive. But I still stand by the belief that he can be a good king without being hardened.
You do take a decent approval hit, though.
I have the firm belief that you have to have the proper acceptance and mentality to lead if you want to truly succeed. Sure, you can land a job with help, but without the proper mentality or willingness, you are not getting far.
Ain't no way Donald just gave actual life advice.
What can I say? My big bro brings the best out in me. Speaking of the best out of me, let's finish up this armor quest line.
We actually traveled around long enough this time that it makes sense he actually finished the armor.
Nah, it was definitely the homicide that fueled its completion. That's my head canon.
Well, now Zevran can be fully built if for nothing else than my own satisfaction.
Banning us from the store in this situation is absolutely crazy work. I understand banning us if we didn't pay for the armor since Wade slowed down business doing our set, but we have given them 30 gold for 2 custom jobs. That is an insanely good amount of business, and you now have 2 custom pieces that you can use for free advertising.
Harren is a pragmatist in all his business dealings, even if it's illogical. We learned that from his deal with the Crown in Awakening and his deal with the Inquisition, trading Wade's schematics for dragon scales in exchange for dragon scales of our own.
But why is Bro so goddamn pressed that he bans a paying customer just because we distracted his boss a little? Like 30 gold for 2 jobs seems like pretty damn good business, considering legendary items are sold for about half of that.
Well, I have a theory about that. Do you boys remember my lore theory during the Darkspawn Chronicles episode?
Doing this shit.
Of an emissary,
I activate my stand King Crimson.
Wolf.
Yeah, sure thing, buddy.
All right, well, I will just retell it for you, Joe. So, in the Darkspawn Chronicles DLC, Harren becomes a pride demon to teleport himself, as well as Wade, out of Denerim. Now, the only way someone could become a demon is through being an abomination, or being a demon themselves. Now, the abomination theory doesn't make sense unless Harren is a secret mage, since even if we see non-mage abominations, those are always created by a mage themselves. I think instead Harren might already be a desire demon, but one that isn't inherently malevolent like so many other demons.
I guess it wouldn't be the first time a demon decides to handle something mundane like running a business. I mean, just look at anime like Konosuba.
Well, it is a bit of a tinfoil hat theory, but I like to think that is what their strange relationship is all about. Because I don't see another reason Harren doesn't just quit if he dislikes Wade's style and obsession with perfection so much.
Speaking of style, we got the dragon bone plate armor, so let's go slap it on Sten, and then let's check on your boyfriend Barack.
It's so weird to see him still in the party during the Landsmeet. I'm still half expecting him to pull out the murder knife and attack us.
Does that squash some of your beef with Zevran Joe?
No, he's still F tier. He flirted with Liliana.
Well, at least he is consistent. Just tell the final lore drop on your boy Barack. I know you've been waiting half the series for this one.
Right, thank you, Donald. So, just like Isabella's story about her ex-husband's death, the story Zevran tells here has 2 slightly different versions. The facts that remain the same is that back in the Crows, Zevran was part of a 3-man squad consisting of him, Taliesin, and Rinna. This squad each had their own roles that complemented the other, and this formed a deep bond that eventually led to a 3-way romantic relationship. For Taliesin, it may have just been sexual, but Zevran really did love Rinna.
So wait, you killed Zevran's ex last episode?
Pretty much that's why Zevran has a high chance of betraying you for Taliesin.
Based.
Now here's where the story differs. During Zevran's last mission before trying to kill us, Zevran tells us that Taliesin believes Rinna was selling information about their plan to their target, and that they had to put her down for the betrayal. Of course, they found out from their master that this was a lie, meant to teach both of them a lesson that they are expendable, especially Zevran, since their master hated elves and Zevran's overconfidence. However, this was not the real reason Rinna was killed. Rinna was actually a bastard heir to Antivan throne who was given to House Arani in order to avoid political scandal, similar to why Alistair was given to Aemon, so that there wouldn't be conflict over Caelian's rule. Rena eventually joined a rebellion that wanted to put her on the throne, and a contract was put on her head by the Crows so that the current prince would rule instead. This contract was carried out by House Arenai's master so that he would be promoted to Grand Master by the Crows. Now the question up in the air is, did the master tell Taliesin the real reason Rena had to be put down, or did he simply make up the story himself as theirs? No way. Zevran would have agreed to kill Rena for political reason, but we don't know about Taliesin.
I think Taliesin knew about the whole scheme, bro. Seems ruthless enough to not care, plus he seemed like a bit of a meathead.
I think this was all manipulated by the master and the Crows' leadership, since they don't seem to have any respect for their subordinates.
Well, we will never truly know how many people knew about the real reason. But the one thing that is constant is losing the first woman Zevran ever loved after his already tragic childhood made him fall into despair, and he was hoping that ambushing us would lead him to a glorious and dramatic death.
If that was the case, why get all the other assassins involved in the suicide mission? Why not just fling himself at us in the 1v4?
Pride most likely he wanted it to be a dramatic and grand spectacle that fits his character.
I would respect his style, but I doubt all those other assassins and Red Jenny members knew this was a suicide mission.
Fuck them, they want to fight us. That's their fault.
Whatever the reason, though, I'm glad he wasn't too intent on dying and still asked to come along with us. Now he is fully free on the Crows, and instead of hating himself, he is going to channel that hate on the Crows and end up killing all their guys.
A man with a plan, that's what I like to see.
See you in Dragon Age 2, big dog.
Mission, shall we? Suddenly, I do not feel like standing about.
Well, let's give my beloved wife the mirror finally. I have been saving it for the right moment, and my final episode seems like the perfect time.
You're welcome for that, by the way.
Kind of crazy the last time we even talked to Morrigan was episode 14, and that was her flat out rejecting you, Donald. She is certainly going to become far more relevant towards the endgame, though.
Hopefully with this gift, she will want to return the favor with an even greater reward in due time, boys. Some might say the greatest gift a gamer could ever receive.
I think it's important to note that this scene really shows how differently Morrigan was raised compared to everyone else. This is genuinely one of the first times Morrigan has ever received a meaningful gift, and Claudia Black really sells how confusing this really is for her.
Claudia Black is a real goated voice actor. She's right up there with Tim Kaine and Simon Templeman in terms of talent.
See, this is what I like to see, boys. The entire segment dedicated to glazing up my lovely wife. Here's hoping the Witch Hunt special episode will be just as glorious. Anyway, let's finally check on Aemon now that the prep work is done.
Orlesian and a brunette elf. This is like the perfect mix of Liliana and Meryl. If she can carry a tune with me, I think I'm in love.
Don't whip out your guitar again, you weirdo.
Oh, I'm going to whip it out, all right?
Heavy pause.
Joe, you say that shit again, and I will wholly smite your ass into the curb.
Fine, whatever, I can go back to her on my own playthrough since y'all don't want to hear my feelings. Also, I know it's on brand for me and Donald to shit on Loghain, but even I can't imagine he would want Honora dead. He does really love Honora, and I believe he has every intention of letting her have the throne while he leads the armies.
Now, I can see Loghain doing that. The dude is almost as far gone as Branka or an NFT investor.
I have to agree with Joe here. I think this was a clear act of desperation by Howe. Either he convinces Honora to fall in line with him and let Loghain continue his bid to rule, or he was going to kill her and pin her death on Aemon, or just use the old treason excuses like he did the Cauthrien, then just appoint Loghain as king so he could be second to the throne. Howe was probably just winging it at this point. I can't imagine this was his original plan, just the plan that would let him keep his power.
Well, let's see how good he is at winging it when I rip his wings off anyways. Now, with all this setup done, we have important business to take care of in the city.
Oh, hell yeah, Donald. Now, this is a gamer moment. Oh, goddamn, boys, there's like 2 for each of us.
Donald, we still have so much to get done today. You're ruining the content.
Common Obama L. This is the exact content our viewers want to see.
Donald, we still have all of the Denerim Estate to finish, and a really important comment question to ask.
All right, of course, viewers, who is your favorite working girl in the Pearl? Personally, I'm partial to the girl in noble clothing. She has class.
Definitely the elf girl. She is the most vocal.
Jesus Christ, goodbye monetization editor, skip ahead please. And that is not a proper goddamn comment question, boys.
Only to you, Nerdbama, but fine. Since you want to go all PC on us, I will ask the far inferior comment question. Viewers, we are approaching an important election, and I'm not talking about electing me as Paragon of America for once. Next episode, we are going to appoint a ruler choice for the Landsmeet. And since we aren't playing my goated human noble, that leaves us with 3 choices. So let us know what ruler choice we should pick in this playthrough. Me personally, since Honora can't give our little guy the title of Prince Consort, I think it's the obvious choice to elect Alistair to rule alone. He has been our big bro this entire playthrough, and our Warden and Aemon can set him on the right path to be the king with the best grind set Ferelden has ever seen. I say we leave Honora in the dirt. She's Loghain's daughter and a crooked politician like the rest of the Ferelden nobility. She's a damn opportunist who betrays us twice in this game, and we really don't have a reason to trust Loghain's daughter this late in the game. It would be one thing if our Warden was taking the throne with her, since our Warden is immovable and built different, but Alistair is far less competent and confident even when hardened when compared to her, and I want my big bro to shine on his own, and if he marries Honora, he would be taking a clear back seat.
Good points, Donald. I get that it's hard to trust Honora. She does betray you when confronted with Cauthrien, and again, in the Landsmeet, if we don't promise to make her queen, so it's hard to like her. Personally, but it's easy to respect her. At least she has been leading the country for several years while married to Callian, and even was ruling after his death. She has the experience and passion for the job, while Alistair has the rightful claim and the love of the people as both a Theron and a Grey Warden. Honora is, for better or worse, a politician. She is well liked by her subjects, and she knows how to rule the country because she's been doing it for years. She and Alistair can balance each other, and while Honora may be dominant in the first few years of the marriage, I don't think that dynamic would stay that way long term. Eventually, Alistair would grow into his role, and they would be considered equals in their own right. The ending slides even say they usher in 2 very beloved monarchs in Ferelden. I think this compromise is the clear best choice for the people and the country.
All right, you both made good points, and I have my own take, and just like the Tevinder army choice, I ask that you both hear me out again. What if we made Honora rule alone and let Alistair stay in the Grey Wardens?
Joe, I think you have finally lost it. Why would we let Loghain's daughter rule completely unchecked and screw our boy over like that? Do you want Loghain to just lead our Blight army and plow your wife while you're at it?
Eat a dick, I said, hear me out, Donald. So, Barak made some good points about Honora. She is experienced, and as Aemon pointed out just a few minutes ago, she is beloved by the people of Ferelden, whereas Alistair is inexperienced. Also, we should note that even hardened Alistair doesn't really want the throne, whereas Honora does. I think the biggest appeal to me, however, is that if we don't appoint Alistair as king, then we get to see him as a Grey Warden in Dragon Age 2. And most importantly, we get to see him as the Grey Warden representative when we reach Inquisition, which means we not only get to work with Alistair again, but it would make the choice between Hawke and Alistair in Inquisition that much more difficult. Not to mention, I doubt every viewer has played through Inquisition with Alistair as a warden, and it would give a unique experience to those watching when we get there.
Tackling the question with the viewer's experience, devious work, Joe.
All right, as evil as it might be to have the viewers watch either Hawke or Alistair die in Inquisition, I still think we should have a big bro-only king arrangement to fully stick at Loghain and his family. But ultimately, this is up to our based viewers. So comment down below if you want Alistair or Honora to rule alone, or if you want a joint rulership. Our editor will respond to every comment as normal, and he's going to tally up everyone's vote to determine who Joe will elect in the Landsmeet next episode, as well as feature the comment that makes the best argument. Speaking of features, Joe, mind showing us our featured comment from last episode?
Our featured comment comes from High Lord Laughter, who suggested that the Shazend and Ash Warriors could have been an interesting addition to our Blight army, which I agree since those factions have huge lore potential and were relatively untouched in the story, but also untouched by the Blight, and would at the very least have been as powerful as, say, the Dalish elves in terms of manpower. Plus, that means more dogs, which I'm sure is a massive W for Donald. Thank you for your comment and can't wait to see what your crown choice is.
Also, thank you very much, Tidy Gamer, for the super thanks. Once again, we are so grateful that you guys go the extra mile to support this channel. We decided we will always pin the first super thanks we see on our videos, just as an added show of gratitude for the support. So Donald, I noticed you're not trying the stealth route in the estate even after Erlina begged you 20 times to do it. You do know you have alternatives here?
Yes, Barack, despite what Joe yaps about, I can in fact read, but first of all, I'm not giving favors to this girl. She's Orlesian and works for Honora, which means in a roundabout way, she works for Loghain, which makes her an enemy that the game won't let me kill. Secondly, my mission here isn't to rescue Honora, it's to kill Howe, and I'm getting revenge for the Cowslands with this one. Howe didn't leave anyone in the manor alive when he killed the human noble's family, and am returning the favor by wiping every single person he employed before curb stomping him so he can know what it feels like.
That's pretty psychotic, Donald, but on the plus side, this probably feels like waxing nostalgia for my girl Liliana.
Wait, why the hell would this be nostalgic for the basic bard? Does she actually have a positive character trait besides lockpicking by hating Howe?
Jesus Christ, he's such a noob.
Well, Donald, this probably feels nostalgic for Liliana because during the DLC Liliana's song, which goes over her origin, she breaks into the estate twice and wipes out the Arl's guards to plant and unsteal the Orlesian documents that incriminated Marjolaine. You would know that if you were here for Joe's special episode, that is a skill issue.
Well, I still regret nothing that looked like nothing but 45 minutes of Joe singing and creaming, but also, Jesus, how many times does this estate get broken into? You break into it twice during the basic bard story. You can break into it again during the city elf origin, and then the warden breaks into the estate a third time to kill Howe. The insurance premiums in this estate must be through the roof.
That was mine and Bill's summary too, Donald.
There's a lot of good loot in these side passages here. Also, if you took the bribe in the city elf origin, you can stash the gold in one of the containers in the estate and grab it when you come back here to kill Howe. I don't know why you would take the bribe, but there you go.
Well, good job grabbing the hidden codexes around the keep. Donald, that extra experience will be worth it.
I could care less about the crumbs of experience at this point.
What's going on here?
Are y'all leaving enough room for the Maker?
Sorry, bro, I would have let you finish if you weren't working for the wrong team.
This is normally where our stealth gets broken. But since we already killed everyone else, this guy is calling out to an empty room.
Do y'all think Howe replaced the former Arl's bed before moving in? Or is he just sleeping on a dead guy's mattress?
Joe, why does that matter?
It's just good hygiene I need to know. Plus, with everything Vaughn did here, it's pretty gross.
Oh, hey, it looks like we missed one.
It's okay, it's just one guy.
Damn you doing that Splinter Cell takedown.
Guess there is a monk class in Dragon Age after all, because Riordan definitely has these hands.
Well, everyone welcome Duncan 2.0 because, of course, this game needs one more plot twist before the end.
You're closer than you think actually. Duncan and Riordan both took the joining together, while Fiona Alistairs' mom was the junior Grey Warden who oversaw their joining, just like Alistair did for us. He's a pretty good guy if you read in the toolkit. It actually says Riordan would have been the hero that saved the Blight if it wasn't for how base the hero of Ferelden already was, implying he would have gone out of his way to use the treaties the same as we did.
He was actually paramount in ending the Blight, but we will get to that later.
What are these documents I grabbed, Barack?
Well, they are not only all the Grey Wardens who died at Ostagar, but they are also instructions on how to induct new Grey Wardens through the joining, which means this is our setup for awakening. Also, I can't believe we talked about the joining resistance with Ruck, but forgot about this caveat. The resistance that sets Grey Wardens apart from a blighted ghoul is likely a mix of blood magic and archdemon blood. This also means that every blight the Grey Wardens must somehow drain a shit ton of blood from an archdemon after it's killed.
How the hell do they do that without raising eyebrows from all the regular people?
Well, Grey Wardens are given plenty of praise and leeway after a blight. They are at the height of their popularity. I'm sure that comes with some level of looking the other way when they collect the blood. I could believe that, realistically. But what I don't believe is, why did Loghain loot the stash of archdemon blood and destroy it? He would have no idea what it is. We learned that by his surprise at the joining. And why would he even take time to destroy it with everything else going on with the Civil War and a blight?
Yeah, that was probably just written so that we couldn't just recruit a ton of people into the Grey Wardens, and we would only have 2 for dramatic purposes.
Well, I guess he's just going to wear the Dead Guard's clothes. Major protagonist energy right now. But let's get back to our featured program of killing all of Howe's dudes.
Donald, I should probably warn you, this basement section goes pretty hard if you're not careful.
Barack, the last 10 times you tried to warn me about something, it turned out fine. This basement will go just the same, if not better, because I have a mental amp against Howe going on right now. As long as I keep up the 1 million poisons I have on Liliana and the insane CC damage of Waking Nightmare, this will be easy goddamn money.
Goddamn, the room is ice cold already also. Donald, I think you forgot to change the tactic with the health potions. Our warden's using like 10 every fight, and we are almost out of them.
Okay, can both of you give me some respect here? I have carried us through the deep roads. I have carried us through the Flemeth fight, and I even carried us through that shitty damn elven ruin. Put some respect on the Don boys while he carries us through the Denerim Estate. I'm just letting people go down to build some tension with the viewers. See, first fight is in the bag.
Well, can you change your tactics at least, so we aren't wasting all our health potions for the final fight?
I don't need them, and changing my tactics right now would be boring for the content. A true gamer will adapt past the skill issue. Joe, so figure it out next episode.
All right, I will definitely remember that.
You know, it's kind of crazy. We are just seeing Mabari pairing with guards. Towards the end of the game, you would think, with how integrated Mabaris are to Ferelden society, we would have seen more fights with Mabaris and soldiers, especially since it adds something different to the combat, adding mages, melee troops, and Mabaris that each have to be managed differently really adds to some difficulty in this final stretch to help keep players locked in, rather than just fighting multiple of the same enemy. Variety is the spice of life for gamers after all.
Yeah, I think I saw a few people praise this dungeon as their favorite, and I can see why. You can tackle the first half in stealth or go in guns blazing, and between the traps, guards, mages, and Mabari, the combat is more difficult than some other dungeons.
I think most people just like this dungeon because they get to curb stomp that snake Howe. But I guess the mechanical reasons are pretty valid too, boys. Speaking of mechanics, watch my mechanics clap up the rest of these enemies in this so-called hard dungeon.
Donald, you probably didn't want to pull out all the enemies in that room. Our allies never healed. And this area is a death trap with all 3 of the enemies. We just talked about it.
No, just let him cook Barry. Trust me, it will be good for the viewers.
Thank you, Joe. I'm glad you can finally see my role as Dominant Donald in this group.
I always love seeing how these fights turn out. I'm sure you will get exactly what you deserve.
Man first the presidency, now Dragon Age, I am pure peak, boys.
Oh, you're going to reach the peak of something, all right?
Donald, how are you not noticing how vague Joe is being here? I think he's cooking something up here.
Oh, please, Joe gets one crushing prism call right 10 episodes ago, and suddenly I'm supposed to be scared. Get a grip, Barack. Joe is clearly just seeing that I'm the new leader of the Dragon Age squad.
Okay, new leader, you left Morrigan and Ogren in the fire trap that you triggered.
Morrigan, my love, no, I thought she could have tanked it.
Why would you think our mage could tank a fire trap? Anyways, Liliana is about to get clapped up too.
No, it's totally fine, Barry. A true gamer will adapt past the skill issue and totally heal before being killed. Also, they would totally not get their last character overwhelmed by a dog, so they can't do anything.
God damn it, Joe. Stop using your lame-ass stand to screw with me. This game is rigged. Rigged, I say.
Skill issue. See, Donald 4 deaths trump if you pull out half the enemies before taking out the other half. It's actually a halfway manageable fight.
Fine, whatever, it's a good idea. Now don't invent new name for me. I'm still Dominant Donald. I just hit a rough patch.
All right, sure thing. Donald Deathstacker. Now don't go bashing your head into another mage and fire trap just to get an odd number of deaths again.
God damn it, how the hell does this fire trap just one-shot our whole team?
Can you stop killing all the waifus like you're in The Walking Dead or some shit bozo? We cannot be in this basement all day. We still have a lot of the Landsmeet to cover.
Relax, you goddamn nerd. The mage is killed and I just have one guy left and we are good. See, easy money.
Having to do a whole fight twice is not easy goddamn money, Donald. But now, we can finally get to a few of the side quests in this dungeon, so we are making some progress at least.
This kid is extra important to rescue since he is one of the 3 arguments you need to make in the Landsmeet in order to win without Anora's help. I'm not sure what Howe's plan was here except to just torture the kid to keep his dad in the dark. The kid here doesn't seem to have some big secret on Howe or anything. He didn't even know a Landsmeet was going on. So was Howe just doing this because he had beef with Dragon's Peak?
Knowing Howe, he probably just wanted to extort the kid for more power. The guy is a Sunday cartoon villain cranked up to 11.
I mean, either that, or that's how he gets his rocks off. I mean, Howe is a masochist. Also, there's like 2 other important people we need to rescue from this dungeon. One for a Chantry side quest, and another for the Elven alienage.
All right, the second worst origin story companion after Joan, the coward Saurus, is here too. How could I forget? I guess I can rescue him just to not let Howe get one over on anyone, but I won't be happy about it.
Donald, how is Saurus the second worst origin companion? Are you forgetting Lesky too? He literally betrays our warden.
Well, Lesky is voiced by Varric, and at least he stands on business. I have to respect it. Even if it's treachery, he is still on that grind.
All right, well, that's a dumb argument. Saurus might be lacking backbone, but that makes sense when you realize the conditions the elves and the alienages face.
You know, something I just realized is Saurus is here, but the city elf warden isn't here. In the Carta hideout, we can see the dead body of the dwarf commoner, but here we don't see the body of city elf. What do you think happened to them?
Actually, isn't Vaughn always alive if you don't play city elf yourself? So does that mean the evil route where the city elf warden takes the bribe is the canon one?
So it's really hard to say. We have a few theories to work off here. The first is the worst option, that the city elf warden was a snake and took the money Vaughn gave him to keep the elven women, and the city elf simply fled town, with the money immediately abandoning everyone, including Saurus, who was left to be arrested. The second option is he took the money, but died being arrested instead of going quietly, like Saurus likely did when the guards came. The third option is the events of the city elf origin are the only ones that never actually took place. The same way the origin does, maybe the city elf warden never existed and Saurus was arrested during his own marriage and conflict with Vaughn, or maybe the female city elf is canon, and without Duncan lending swords to the city elves to fight Vaughn, Saurus was captured trying to rescue them, and the city elf warden died after being, with Vaughn, or a soldier. Let us know what you think, viewers.
What's also crazy is Howe didn't even know someone was down here. Vaughn was the one who put Saurus here, and Howe was just like, hey, whatever, keep him here.
Well, now we can be welcomed into the alienage ever so slightly more by freeing Saurus.
Speaking of, let's go finally kill the snake, shall we? We have all the side shit in this dungeon done. All we have now is our prey.
I wish I had more than gratitude to offer.
Well, here's the moment. Human noble mains everywhere wait for this fight, has the same strategy as the Colgrim fight as last episode. But the difference is, the 2 mages are shape changers who are way tankier, and Howe is a dual-wield rogue, which is way more damaging, so it's almost like they min-maxed this encounter to be more efficient.
My stand is going crazy. At the death possibilities, Donald, there's only a few ways a win condition is going to be met here.
If I don't clutch up this fight against my sworn enemy, I will drop out of this election faster than Joe did, boys. The mental amp I have from my seething rage has fired every gamer synapse I have available. Translation, this bitch is going down. First things first, I want to pull all my damage dealers out of this room and funnel the fodder one by one while our warden takes out the actual threat of the mages.
Oh shit. Some actual strategy from Donald, you love to see it. Well, if you're going to play like this, then this should be easy money for you and I can sit back and watch. Well, we won't get many opportunities to talk about Howe after this, so I might as well dispense some lore on our least favorite shithead. I know Cauthrien lore is normally your territory, Donald, but do you mind if I take this one?
Sure thing, I'm way too focused on killing this bitch right now.
Fair enough. So the Howes have a habit of being on the wrong sides of civil war. Rendon Howes, Father Tarleton Howe sided with the Orlesian occupation being too old to openly oppose the Orlesians, and sided with them so that he could keep the area of Harper's Ford. Tarleton fought against the Couslands before eventually being overtaken and hanged in Harper's Ford, the land of Amaranthine, then was inherited to his brother Byron, who was Rendon's uncle. Byron also sided with the Orlesian occupation until Merrick convinced him to join the rebellion. Rendon, on the other hand, was always on the side of the Couslands and fought with them throughout the war, eventually claiming the lands of Amaranthine from his uncle Byron, who died in the final years of the Ferelden Rebellion. Howe was always treated with suspicion by the people of Amaranthine, however, not only because of his piss-poor attitude, but also because his father and uncle were noted Orlesian sympathizers, and his father even died being one. This is likely what led to contention between Rendon and Bryce Cousland, who was as beloved and influential as Arl Eamon. The tipping point seems to have been that Bryce was trying to build positive relations with Orlais, which is what he mentions to a human noble, as the reason why he did what he did to his family. Considering Howe was unpopular being associated with Orlais by his father, it likely infuriated him that a popular noble like Bryce was able to directly visit Orlais while still being loved by his people. Howe says that he suspected the Couslands of treason, but that just seems like cope that he spews to get on Loghain's good side because of his paranoia.
Make us spit on you. I deserved more.
You're right, Howe. You deserve so much more. You deserved a much more slower, embarrassing, and painful death. I hope Bryce and the human noble are ready in the Fade to tag team your bitch ass for all eternity.
Speaking of people who deserve more pain, tell me we don't need this coward's vote, Barry.
Nope. We already have the antivan Crow vote. This bug is just redundant.
Even if we needed him, I would have just ignored that because I'd rather lose the Landsmeet than spare the second most hated character in this game.
Same.
Hey, Vaughan, I'll tell you what, if anyone in the Brazilian Dalish defends you, I will let you go right now.
Donald, there are no more Brazilian Dalish. You wiped them out, remember?
Oh, damn, that sounds like a personal problem for Vaughan then, doesn't it?
And nothing of value was lost.
True, there is no reason for anyone to spare Vaughn unless you're playing a racist warden or if your warden really needs that vote. This does pose a huge problem for Denerim, though, since without Howe or Vaughn, who becomes the new Arl of Denerim? I know if we played the City Elf origin, we can make a new holding for the alienage to become equal in the Landsmeet, and the warden or Shiani can become a ban. This could eventually lead to them taking over the Arling of Denerim, too. But without that being an option, I'm surprised they don't elect a new Arl of Denerim immediately after the Blight, considering it's the capital and largest city of Ferelden.
Maybe the crown just takes it over?
That sounds like you would be giving the crown even more power, which would be pretty unpopular for a country against the Orlesian style of ruling.
Well, maybe the viewers can spitball some ideas. They are pros at that. Also, this dude really fumbled to kill Joan. What a goddamn joke. I wish there was an option to take him out for his incompetence.
Well, I'm glad you can't do that, since this guy is the second argument we need to use in the Landsmeet, and the most important overall because we can use his testimony to get Loghain to be scolded by the Grand Cleric, which gives almost as many points as Honora's support, which shows how important the Maker still is in Ferelden politics.
I just noticed it's pretty much a 50-50 toss-up in Howe's prison, if you will be given clothes or not. Vaughn and Soros, they got prison clothes. But the Templar, Ostagar soldier, and Arl's son, nah, they were naked.
Nobody wants to see Vaughn naked, and Soros probably just came in here looking like that. Anyway, I'll let the F-tier Templar wait in carpool for his big sister to pick him up later.
There is an imposter among us.
Incoming Star Wars reference, boys.
To be fair, she has a point. We are way too short to make that joke ourselves.
I'll be killed. And my people will insist on escorting me back to the palace, where my father may also have me killed.
Oh no, it's Loghain's little cheerleader. I'm so scared, courteous of her to bring that sword. I can still shove it up Howe's ass when I'm done here.
Donald, that's a literal god wielding a two-hander. I would be more focused up here if I was you.
Donald, we are low on potions here, and we do have options. Since this is an optional fight, we can either fight her normally and take our chances with our resources, or we can let her arrest us.
Wait, arrest? Like prison?
Yeah, like we can do the Fort Draken section of the game and...
No, I'm never going back to prison. You won't take me alive.
Barry, I think this is Donald's version of a crash out right now.
Donald, I'm going to need you to take a deep breath and tell me your plan. Here you are fighting the hardest bosses in the game, right now, on Nightmare, with almost no potions and no spirit healer.
Death before prison, you can't have me yet.
Bro is officially having a D1 crash out. He's just going berserk.
I mean, I can see the rough draft of a plan here. He has every single bomb and poison we have ever made on Liliana, and he dropped Waking Nightmare on one half of the guards. For crashing out and going the direct route, this isn't a bad idea. But honestly, our team is not mind-maxed enough for this strategy to work. Ogren's already down. And while sure, we have plenty of resources to take a lot of them with us, we don't have a clear answer to the rabid pit bull on coke. That is the two-hander god Cauthrien.
I was framed, damn it, I don't belong here.
Okay, I'm stopping this 1 second. Hey, Donald, check out these Morrigan feet pictures.
Oh, sorry, Mommy. Wait, where am I? What was I doing? Am I fighting a boss or something?
Donald, you're fighting Cauthrien, and you went through a crash out. Ogren's already down, and Morrigan is hanging on by a thread. Now what I need you to do is disengage everyone and flee into the bedrooms of the estate so we can take out the boss, then deal with the rest of the fodder after the girl with more attack damage. Then the archdemon and high dragon is taken out.
Why would I retreat, though it looks like I'm winning? I still have Morrigan and plenty of bombs, and the one mage is about to be taken out. I've seen YouTube videos of people soloing this fight with one warden. I will be fine.
Yeah, they soloed it with a dual spec, arcane warrior and blood mage, or they soloed with a min-max dual wield rogue, but we are not any of those things. So we should really be using our frontal lobe and pulling out. All those archers we have been fighting are literally nailed to the floor. They cannot move. So if we take Cauthrien away from them, we can focus on just her without being stunned.
I have 5 kids I don't know how to pull out. I am killing every single guard that tried to take me to jail and walking out this estate, just how I will walk into the White House in January, a free man.
Yeah, and there goes Morrigan. I don't even need my stand to determine the outcome of this one.
Yep, she got hit with like 3 different things at once, just like I said. Donald, this was impressive, but we really used all our resources without much to show for it. Cauthrien has like no damage on her.
Oh, come on, Barack, you of all people should know that with just a few more bombs you can solve anything.
Damn, the Walking Dead guy got you there, Barry.
Fuck you both. You know what, fine, Donald, I will let you handle this your way, since you think you got it like that.
Donald, you could have kept my girl running. Why did you stop and let her die?
To prove a point to both of you that we need to believe in our warden here. Just like my Deep Roads fight, our dwarf will clutch up the 1v1 with the boss and win the day.
Yeah, except that boss wasn't an elite boss that does 100 damage per hit, Donald. Also, we had more health potions back then too. Now we have 5 to our name.
Well, it's fine. Even if I use them all, I can still,
You just did the math and realized it's Joe over, huh?
God damn it! Please tell me that still counts as a boss counter.
No, but on the bright side, you have an odd number of deaths, now sitting at 5, and we get some unique dialogue with Morrigan, since we have the ring still. If we didn't have Morrigan's ring, the party would have to guess that we are at Fort Draken.
Thank God my wife is still my number one.
Phrases you wouldn't hear Donald say IRL.
Is quite something else.
Well, this is ironic.
Shut the fuck up, Joe.
Even the game wanted to lock Donald up. This is the best day ever.
This game is clearly run by corrupt liberals and mage supporters that want to see me fail.
Oh, come on, Donald. Look at the bright side. Consider this good practice for what's to come in the future.
Barack, are you in your sassy man era or some shit?
I don't know, Donald. Are you in your skill issue era?
I think that answers your question, Donald.
Yeah, whatever. Well, the game designers did get one thing right. People in prison are this friendly. Everyone I personally met also hated Howe and said I don't belong here anymore. Then they do. It's no big deal, though. My wife will bail me out of prison.
Again, phrases Donald would never say IRL, but Donald bring Liliana too.
Oh, you would, Sleepy.
Actually, as ironic as it is, both your waifus are ideal for busting Donald out of prison. Liliana is one of the 3 characters that can pass all 3 guard checkpoints, the other 2 being Zevran and Sten. And if we bring Morrigan with Liliana, we get a unique setup here.
Fine, whatever gets me out of here the fastest.
I know you're pouting right now, Double D, but on the plus side, this is probably one of the most diverse quests in the game. You can send any 2 combination of companions that like you to bust you out, including Bo. And depending on the combination of companions, they can have different dialogue and setups. You want to list them all, Barry?
Sure thing, Joe. So as we can see, if we pick Liliana, Morrigan, and Wynne, they will pretend to be Chantry sisters. If we pick Sten, Zevran, and Oghren, they will pretend to be circus performers. If we pick anyone with Bo, they will pretend to be delivering a new dog to the kennels. Same situation if we pair anyone with Shale, and if we don't have any of these combinations, they will default to pretend to be couriers. We can also try to break ourselves out of prison, and if we had Alistair in the party with us during the Denerim Estate, he will be there too. Breaking out yourself is not as interesting, but it is easier if you have max coercion, since you can find yourself just walking out the door.
So I literally just have Liliana speak to everyone while Morrigan sits there and looks pretty?
Pretty much Donald.
Base, this is easy money, and we have our 2 damage dealers for when things get rough.
I wouldn't call your ass getting clapped up by Cauthrien in a dramatic crash out easy money bozo. But you are right about betting it all on my girl Liliana. She is going to carry us here without breaking a sweat.
Joe, if you were the one fighting Cauthrien, you would have fought each member of her squad one at a time with 4 bows, and the boss fight would have taken like 10 minutes. What do you mean? My base crash out was way better for the content.
Yeah. But if I was the one fighting her, I would have killed her and gotten another boss counter to my name. Get the job done at any cost, isn't that right, Mr. Renegade?
He got you there, Donald?
Yeah, well, use your Renegade interrupt to lick my lightly salted nuts, Joe.
Okay, then. Well, how about we focus on the 2 waifus working together when they used to be on opposing sides?
My girl is a god-tier gaslighter. I wish she would come into my office and trick me like that.
Joe, please stop trying to get willingly seduced. As the president, your ass is not Bill. And I doubt you can gaslight nearly as well as Liliana when you get caught.
I only got a few months left. Just let me do what I want here, Barry.
My girl Morrigan isn't going to let anyone steal her man. Let's clap these Logan simps up.
I'm sure wiping out a large portion of Fort Draken's defense force won't have any negative consequences, boys. Despite that, though, this is a pretty thematic prison break. The 2 waifus, you guys, are constantly bickering over who's better teaming up and working together to free our warden. I call this a step towards character development.
Yeah, Donald's finally seeing the appeal of my clutch queen, Liliana.
Yeah, for once she has 2 things useful about her instead of 1. She can actually speech check people to make this easier for us. Don't get ahead of yourself. She is still multiple tiers below Morrigan.
All Morrigan has to do is throw a few spells. Liliana is the one putting in work.
Oh, screw you, Sleepy. Don't talk about my wife like that.
Well, I was hoping for peace for the rest of the episode, but I guess I will take 10 seconds.
That's what she said?
All right, I will take that moment of unity as character development. One more fight until we are a free warden again.
Yeah, and that last fight with these guards are easy goddamn money. I'm actually going to check to see if we are still on Nightmare for once, because these guys didn't even put up any sort of fight in here.
Come quickly, Warden, though I doubt you are inclined to linger. There you are. Follow me, the Arl is waiting for us.
Damn, we were in prison, even less time than Donald was. I guess the system doesn't work in any setting.
Not even Fort Draken can stop my grind set, boys. Now aim and point me towards the low-gain cheerleader. I left my food unfinished.
Where's that? Never mind, I'm not going to say it. I already did it twice.
Well, she's hiding in the palace right now, Donald. Actually, given the time we have reached, I think we are going to have to pass that boss fight to Joe next episode.
God damn it, I seriously ended my last boss fight on a loss?
Them's the breaks, Double D.
Oh, whatever, Joe. I still gotta kill Howe, and I'm up to 17 bosses killed while you only have 12. And since we already agreed with the viewers that low gain doesn't count at most, you will get 2 or 3 bosses your episode, so congrats on 3rd place, just like your game choice.
Well, I have a game plan for next episode, especially concerning some of the side quests, so I guess you'll just have to see, won't you, bozo?
Well, here's where Honora reveals that we can work with her instead of Alistair, though she mostly does it the politician way of smearing her opponent rather than praising her own accomplishments.
Normally I would respect that game is game, however, when you are my enemy's daughter and you're bashing my big bro, I will respectfully ask you to shut your bitch ass up.
Yeah, even if it's Zevran, I'm not going to let some damn politician bash our squad, only we get to do that.
Well, I can see she doesn't struggle with modesty, at least. Although her argument here isn't too strong, electing her just because she is neutral doesn't really matter. The Landsmeet is determined by votes of nobility, making it aristocratic in nature, which means personal bias is the very name of the game. Her argument later, if you talk to her one-on-one, is better, since she offers to bribe you with a boon instead.
Which again doesn't really matter, since Alistair also gives us a boon.
She's still the best person for the job, boys.
Well, that's for the viewers to decide, Sleepy, anyways. Looks like you get to tackle the elven alienage section before we get to the good stuff.
Thank God. I would be worried if you were tackling the alienage, Donald. You would probably unlock the secret genocide ending to that quest somehow.
Joe, I know your old ass already forgot about what you said you wanted to do to the elves and the Teventer slavers, but I sure as hell didn't.
Sure, I know exactly what you mean, Donald.
Joe, why did you answer that like you have no clue what he's talking about?
Because I really have no clue what he is talking about, but I do know he is definitely wrong.
Jesus Christ, well, we already have almost everything we need to no-diff Logan in the Landsmeet. We just have to turn everything in at the tavern. But Donald, go ahead and talk to Riordan first, since there is one last key gift we need to grab before we wrap things up.
Oh, right, the Grey Warden cache. Kinda crazy it takes us this long to have access in it, but there's some really good loot. They're including an easy-to-miss gift for our big bro.
Kind of confusing that this cache Riordan mentions has been here for centuries in the defense of Denerim, but the Grey Wardens just got out of exile 20 years ago. Only way that makes sense is this cache was untouched for the 200 years during their exile in Ferelden.
That is just how goated the Grey Wardens are anyways. I know there is a top-tier helmet in the cache that we can pair with a two-hander. We get from siding with Zatharin in the Dalish quest line. If you have both of them equipped at the same time, the Warden is immune to backstab damage, a pretty cool reward for warrior players.
Donald, did you just dispense game knowledge?
When it's about the goated warrior class, my knowledge is infinite.
Also, Riordan, I don't think you want to get close to Theme, bro's gonna cook you. And I don't mean physically.
Joe, I'm sure he will be fine. Let's just wrap up the side quest we got at Howe's Manor. The last important argument we need to make during the Landsmeet is to convince Arl Wolf here that we are here to end the Blight, not Loghain. We can learn here by talking to him that his land has been almost completely destroyed by the Blight, and he even lost 2 sons to the Blight. He is really only here because he feels he has a duty to uphold. He doesn't feel strongly about Loghain or the Wardens themselves. He just wants to support whoever will end this Blight. And if we turn the tables on Loghain with a speech check, we can get Wolf's vote.
This guy also has a small side quest in Inquisition. If you side with the Templars, he apparently sides with the dirty Venatori in hopes of getting them to leave Ferelden alone in their war against the Inquisition. We can deal with him during a war table mission.
So long story short, remind everyone the Blight is bad, got it?
Now here's a ban I can get behind. I feel the same seething hatred for Howe, and it'd be the first one to fund that army marching on Amaranthine, my guy.
Donald, we need that land intact. We are going to be responsible for managing it in a few months. Also, bringing his troops against Thomas is kind of pointless. He is likely already dead at the hands of the Blight.
That's future Donald's problem, not mine.
This dude is a pretty passionate speaker. I like how passionate he is during the Landsmeet section.
I'm surprised you didn't ask for money, Donald. He would have given us a good amount of gold and still supported us against Loghain.
I don't need money to stop whatever Howe was doing to people this one time. It's on the house. Last person on the checklist for today, I have to make sure that Templar's sister picks him up from the dungeon carpool.
Thank God she isn't more unhinged. Handing someone their missing brother's ring might have caused more of a crash out and caused people to swing first and ask questions later.
To be fair, Alfstana is not afraid to throw hands if we get her support, but still lose the Landsmeet and are forced to fight Loghain and the palace guards. She will square up with the guards and some of her troops alongside us. Also, her brother, the Templar, is the older sibling, meaning he would have inherited the title of Ban, but he renounced his title, believing his sister would be a far better ruler.
Can you imagine how easier our warden's life would have been if we had siblings like hers, instead of the backstabbing twats that are our 2 brothers?
I think you mean how boring our life would have been, Sleepy.
Well, one detour before we pass it off to you, Joe. Let's check out the ancient Grey Warden cache.
The main reason we are going here is Duncan's shield happens to also be in this storage cache, and our big bro always wanted something to remember Duncan by.
Good shit, Donald, and with Duncan's shield, Alistairs' equipment set is just as thematic as our Warden's. He has the armor of the king, aka his brother. He has his father Marik's sword, and his mentor, Duncan's shield. Not only are they all connected to Alistair, but 2 of them are victims of Ostagar the moment that cuts Alistair the deepest.
Meanwhile, our warden has the shield of Eogican, his own ancestor, the Legion of the Dead Armor, the best fighting force of his people against the Darkspawn, and a group he almost had to join himself, all of which our guy personally gathered from the dead of his ancestors in the deep roads.
Goddamn, and with that, the mic drops and it's time to end the video. Viewers, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment on who should rule. Your vote will matter in our final decision next episode, and our editor will tally every single vote and show the results next time. Make sure to like the video to thumb Joe's ass and subscribe so you know when the last 2 episodes of our Origins series is releasing. But for now, stay safe. Trump out.